Have you ever had a day where nothing is technically wrong? You checked everything off the list, you're fine. And yet, there's this feeling sitting somewhere in your chest, or maybe your stomach. Something quiet, something you can't name. You try to shake it off, but it's still there. What is that? Most of us have been taught to manage what we can see. If something hurts, we fix it. If something's broken, we replace it. We're really good at that here. We have systems, apps, productivity hacks, self-help podcasts for every problem imaginable. But this feeling, this one doesn't respond to a 5-step plan. Maybe you've tried to explain it to someone close to you, and the words just didn't come out right. I don't know, I just feel off. And they look at you, a little confused, and say, but things are going so well for you right now. And you know they're right, and somehow that makes it worse. Or maybe you've noticed something more specific. You're scrolling through your phone at midnight, not because you're looking for anything, but because stopping feels harder. Or you leave a first date that went well, and instead of feeling excited, you feel empty. Or Sunday afternoon rolls around, and this strange heaviness settles in, what some people call the Sunday scaries. But it's more than just dreading Monday. It's something older than that. That feeling has a name, or rather, it has a source.
And it lives much deeper than we usually think to look. Here's what I want to offer you today, not as a lecture, but as an invitation to think about something differently. The mind, your mind, is not just what you're aware of right now. Most of what runs your emotional life happens beneath the surface. Psychoanalysis has understood this for over 100 years. There is a part of you, the unconscious, that is constantly working, processing, storing, protecting. Think of it like an iceberg. The thoughts you have, the feelings you can name, the choices you consciously make, that's the tip. Small, visible. Everything beneath the water, that's where most of you lives. And here's the thing that surprises most people. Your past doesn't just stay in the past, it travels with you. Every time you felt dismissed as a child and learned to go quiet, every time love felt unpredictable and you learned to not need too much, every time success was followed by punishment or affection was followed by withdrawal, your mind took notes. It stored those experiences, those emotional memories, not as intellectual facts, but as felt patterns. And now, years later, when something in your present moment echoes one of those old patterns, even slightly, your nervous system responds. Not because you're broken, because you're human. That unnamed feeling, it's often an emotion that has been waiting, sometimes for years, to be acknowledged.
Repression is the technical word, but in everyday life it looks like this. You learned early that certain feelings weren't welcome. Maybe it wasn't safe to be angry in your family. Maybe sadness felt like weakness. Maybe wanting things felt like asking for too much. So you tucked those emotions away, efficiently, automatically, and the mind is very good at that. The problem is, repressed emotions don't disappear. They find other exits. Anxiety, restlessness, that vague, impossible-to-name feeling we started with. Let me bring this closer to home. At work, you've been grinding for months, saying yes to everything, never logging off, telling yourself the next milestone will finally feel like enough. And then you hit it, the promotion, the raise, the recognition, and instead of satisfaction, there's a hollow kind of silence. Why? Because somewhere underneath the productivity, there might be a fear that if you stop mattering. Work becomes a way to outrun a feeling, not build a life. In dating, you meet someone great, genuinely great, and you find yourself pulling back, being a little cold, maybe even self-sabotaging, and you don't know why.
But your unconscious might know exactly why, because somewhere in your history, love and loss arrived at the same time, and getting close now feels like standing too near the edge of something. With social media, you open Instagram for 30 seconds.
You weren't even lonely a moment ago, but now you are, profoundly. And it's not because of someone else's vacation photos. It's because the scrolling was already a way of managing an emptiness that was already there, looking for something to fill a space you haven't quite let yourself look at directly. In everyday life, you have the apartment, the job, the friends, the plans. From the outside, it looks like the life, and you know you should feel grateful. But there's this persistent, quiet voice that says, something is missing, and you don't know what. That voice isn't ingratitude. That voice is information. I want to pause here for a second and just say, if any of this is landing for you, if something in what I have described feels familiar, even uncomfortably so, you are not alone, and you are not strange, and you are not too much. These unexplained feelings are not signs that something is wrong with you. They are signs that there is more of you than you've been given the space to know. The fact that you can feel something and not be able to name it is not a failure. It might be the most honest thing about you. I'm curious. Does this resonate with something you've been carrying? You can share it in the comments if you'd like. Even just a word, a sentence, what that unnamed feeling has been like for you. You don't have to explain it perfectly. That's kind of the whole point. So, what do we do with all of this?
I won't give you a 3-step solution because honestly, that's not how this works. What I will say is this: the fact that you feel something you can't explain is not the problem. The problem is when we spend our lives running from it, numbing it, or performing our way past it. Awareness is not a cure, but it is a beginning. When you start to get curious about a feeling, instead of immediately trying to fix or dismiss it, when you allow yourself to sit with the question instead of demanding an immediate answer, something slowly shifts. Not all at once, not cleanly, but something shifts. Psychoanalysis isn't about excavating your past to be trapped by it. It's about understanding it so that you can actually choose, freely, what happens next. That unnamed feeling you've been carrying, it's not your enemy. It's the part of you that hasn't been heard yet, and it's worth listening to. If this video gave you something to think about or something to feel, I'd love for you to stay a while. I post here regularly about the deeper emotional patterns underneath our everyday lives: relationships, identity, anxiety, self-worth, explored with honesty and without easy answers. You can subscribe if that sounds like what you need right now, and bring a question or bring a feeling you can't explain. There's space for that here. One last thing, and I mean this with care. The content I share here is meant to provoke reflection and offer perspective. It is not therapy, and it does not replace therapy or professional mental health support. If you're feeling overwhelmed, stuck, or in pain, please reach out to a licensed therapist or mental health professional. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you in the next one.